I'm looking at the picture on the wall at the back.
Oh, yeah.
Cartoon.
Your wife sold me that.
Oh, right. She's a tough sales lady as
Oh
well.
my gosh. All
What's the
right.
gold? What's the gold record?
I didn't earn it, I'll tell you that.
Oh, okay.
It's Sergeant Pepper, but it's just more decorative than
Oh,
anything.
yeah.
Shuffling madness of the locomotive breath.
Jam 98.7, Lee Richey with you, and we're talking to a gentleman who stood on stage playing amazing guitar parts and wearing very flashy outfits with Jethro Tull from 1969 to about 2011, 2012. And I'm honored to talk to him today, Martin Barre. Hello, Martin.
Hello, Lee. It's a pleasure to talk to you. And I'm dressed in black from head to toe.
The
So I
flashy
don't want to
outfits,
disappoint you.
they're a thing of the past now, or still bring them out of the closet from now and then?
But they're not even in the closet. They're in the attic.
We're talking to you because you've been doing, since you left Jethro Tull, you've been doing the Martin Barre Band and a
Yes.
Martin Barre and playing out. And you've got a great new CD that was just released this past week, 50 Years of Jethro Tull, which we're going to talk about. Now, I saw Jethro Tull about 4 times, I think, back in the late 70s, early 80s. Always, 30, 40 rows back,
Yeah.
which was great. But then maybe 3, 4 years ago, I was at a little place up here in Buffalo called the Sportsman's Tavern.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to see my guitar hero from about
right.
10 feet away.
That's
And-
unnerving.
And I looked at and I looked at my wife, and she said, "You've got tears in your eyes." And
Oh.
I think that's what music does to people,
Yeah.
don't you think?
Yeah, but music brings a tear to my eye as well.
And the 50 years of Jethro Tull CD is celebrating your 50 years with Jethro Tull, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's a very personal celebration, which is nice, rather than being sort of the band of putting out, Jethro Tull are putting out a product as a unit. I quite like the idea that it's my choice of songs, the people on it are my friends, and it's completely my gesture to the fans that have kept me alive in music for 50 years. So it's a very direct thing that I've tried to do.
It's a double CD, and I believe you've got a DVD coming out shortly. Is that correct?
Yeah, I should have it in a week or two, and it's a complete live show that we did at the Wildy Theatre in Edwardsville, Illinois, May 2019, and I recorded the show because it was a tour with Dee Palmer and Clyde Bunker and the 2 girls who are on the CD that you have, and I just thought, we need to. It's a special show, and luckily I recorded it 2 nights of it, so it's fantastic that I've got that available under the circumstances, because we obviously won't be playing live concerts for quite a while. Yeah, and it's 4 of the tracks from that show are on the CD that you have, and it joins the rest of the track listing, which it was a CD that I sold at gigs as a sort of special. It was only available at shows. It wasn't exactly the same, but it formed the basis of that CD.
I found it interesting, Martin, that the first track is a song that you really didn't play on the very first recording of it. On This Was, correct?
Yeah, yeah, but that you know, it's not all about me, and I just like it as a piece of music. What happened is that I think in the '80s we did a charity record. We were asked to do one. I can't remember the details, but we sat in the studio and I'd had a little play around with that song at home. I said, well, I've got this idea of something to do with Song for Jeffrey to make it really different, and we recorded it. So it was my arrangement, and so there's a part of me in there that makes it very personal. But it's just a good tune and a nod to Mick Abrahams.
It's an amazing CD. The arrangements on each song are great. Now, was this recorded live or in studio or a little bit of both?
Well, the electric tracks on disc one were recorded in a studio, but all recorded live. So I didn't want it to have any sort of sterile element to it. So we set up the back line. We put the vocals in a booth, and they were all first or second take, completely finished. And we had 2 days in the studio. At the end of day one, we'd finished. And we thought, yeah, this is good. It's exactly what we wanted. So it's live, but it's good quality, and you only get that it's good quality live these days. But I wanted
the reason I ask, because the
studio
quality is the recording is phenomenal. It's crystal clear and everything sounds great.
Yeah. I wanted it to be really as good as I could get it, so that it's sort of live in a studio, and most people say that, and essentially it isn't live, but that is, you know, the CD on there. And then the other one is all studio recordings, and I got the girls to record some of the acoustic songs that they'd been singing them on stage anyway, and then I had my friend John Carter do a track, The Waking Edge, because, you know, it is somebody I've been involved with in music for many, many years, since I was at school and college. So it was nice to have another connection there that was very personal. So that there's a mixture of tracks that I knew the fans would like to hear, and tracks which are actually my personal favourites. So it's a bit of both, and I think that's fair enough.
I think the one thing that you know I'm curious about is why you decided not to put Aqualung on here.
Well, we were doing the live in the studio recordings, and it was on the list, and so we got through at the end of the, you know, it was like 8 o'clock in the evening. It's probably more to do with the fact that everybody wanted to get back to the hotel bar and have something to eat.
Now you had a whole extra day of studio time, Martin. You could have came back and just did that track.
Excuses at all. But you know, we got to the end, and the guy said, right, the only one left was Aqualung, and I said, you know what, you know, there's a lot of recordings of that song out there. Should we just be really different and not put it on? And so for no reason other than that, I just thought, let's just not do the obvious. Let's give people something that they don't expect. And essentially, when I started on my own in 2011, I didn't play Aqualung for about 5-6 years.
Really?
The same thing. I didn't want to walk out on stage and play the riff and everybody go, yeah, this is what we want. I wanted to really come from a different direction and surprise the audience in a nice way. And it was always the case that people would come up to me and say, wow, I never knew you were going to do that song or this song.
Mm-hmm.
I said, good, yeah, that's the whole idea. You know, I'm bringing something to the table that's really fresh and new, and I don't want it to be predictable.
Gem 98.7, Lee Richey with you, and we're talking with Martin Barre and about the CD 50 Years of Jethro Tull. Tell me a little bit about the band and how you gathered these folks together.
Dan Crisp is somebody I've known for quite a long time.
Does an awesome job. He's great.
He's amazing. So I've probably known him 10, 12 years. And I work with him locally in the UK with his material. We went out and did gigs as a duo. So his voice hasn't really it's matured, but his voice is pretty well the same before he even got introduced to Jethro Tull's music, and he was doing my solo albums. So, I mean, a lot of people say, oh, he sounds a bit like Ian. And no, he doesn't know anything to Ian. He's his own person.
But it's an old day now.
And the same with Darby Todd's just a great rock and roll drummer who's just like a powerhouse.
Was Dan, you mentioned that he got himself familiar with the Jethro Tull music. Yeah. Was he familiar with it when you first? Not at all, huh?
No, none of them were. I mean, none of the guys in the band, which is the way I wanted it, because I wanted a fresh approach. I didn't want people to have to play exactly what was on the record. Certainly not all the time. I mean, you have to follow the guidelines. I've heard that before. In some of the songs, because it's a history, and some things you can't mess with. Other things you can. There's a bit of leeway, but they're individuals, and I want their personality to be a part of the band, and they all have that. They all have that strength of musicianship and character that they bring a whole new dimension to the music.
Having been in Jethro Tull all those years, and now in essence the leader of your own band, have you what things did you pick up to do and not to do as far as being the leader of this band now?
It's such a leading question. Let me just say that in life we learn from others. Some people we learn the right way to do things, and other people we learn that's the wrong way to do things. So my lifetime of experiences is huge, and I get something from all the experiences that I go through. But I enjoy doing it. I love being, you call it the leader. I'm not really, but I like making decisions. I like arranging music. I like writing music. I like running a band, running rehearsals. And I guess because I'm qualified, and whatever people say, good or bad, I'm certainly somebody who has the experience and the knowledge, in theory, to do a good job. You have to ask the others if I do actually do a good job.
I'm sure they'll have no complaints. Everybody seems pretty happy up there.
But it's nice, because it sort of goes back to the way the early days were in Jethro Tull. We're all sort of new to the game, and we shared everything together. It wasn't just the concerts. We travelled as a unit, and we sort of had days off. We were inseparable, and of course, over the years, it sort of drifted apart. But now my band we do everything together. We're I hate to use the word, it sounds corny, but we are a family. on the road, and we share everything.
I interrupted you. You were telling me about the rest of the band. Where
Okay.
did the young ladies come from?
Well, with Dan, we've talked about. Alan Thompson's played with a lot of people. Pentangle, John Martin, numerous people, and he's just an incredible musician, and obviously a very, very nice person. So he brings a huge amount of musicality into the equation, and is a really strong person. You know, when I'm a bit tired or fed up, he's there. You know, he's been doing it quite a long time, so he understands the emotions of being in a band. So he's such a great person to have on board. And then Darby Todd, as I say, you know, is sort of very fresh, young, full of vitality. Is a rock and roll drummer, and we think is the same as Animal on Sesame Street.
Yes.
But we love it because it's such a great person to watch live, and he sort of encompasses all the best things from all those Tull drummers in one package. So you know, the drummer drives the band, and famously, as Buddy Rich said, you know, the band's only as good as the drummer. And it's always true. You know, a bad drummer will ruin a bunch of great musicians. A great drummer will carry a band through everything.
Yeah.
So they're all really good people, and we get on well. We have the same sort of end game in mind. We're just all on the same wavelength.
Alex and Becca, where did they come from? They sound so nice doing these songs that for so many years we've heard Ian singing.
Yeah, well, they're local girls that they live close to me in the UK. And when I was doing one of the solo records, I asked the engineer, I said, you know, I'd like to put some backing vocals on a few of the songs. Do you know anybody? And he said, oh, and I know these two girls, you know, that they live locally, and I've used them before. They're really good. They came to the studio, they sang, they were fantastic. And then it just grew from there. You know, they became part of the band. They came to America, and you know, they're essentially they're friends as well. You know, they're very sort of close part of the family, as I call it. And I speak to them. You know, we're sort of isolated as we all are, but
yes.
They're close by. I did an acoustic show with Alex about 3 weeks ago of her music, just because it's fun. She's fun to play with, as they both are, and they interpret the music so well. And again, they hadn't heard it before, so to them it was all new and fresh. And I didn't even know if they'd like it. They love the songs, and you can tell in the way they interpret them that they put a lot of their own personality into them.
You are going to be up here on August 15th at CMAC in Canandaigua, New York. Ian, it's Jethro Tull performed by Ian Anderson. How is this going to be different than a Jethro Tull show?
Absolutely not at all. The guys who are playing with me have been playing as members of Jethro Tull during the last years. It's just that I use my own name in the mix, and when I'm talking about Jethro Tull, I'm talking about the repertoire of some 49 years of making music. So
my goodness.
It's the Jethro Tull songbook, if you like, and you know, I suppose it's a little bit ostentatious, but I would just like people to know my name before I die.
Gem 98.7, we're talking to Martin Barre. I interviewed Ian Anderson 3-4 years ago. He was doing a show up here in Western New York, and it was billed as, I think, Ian Anderson plays Jethro Tull. So I said to him, I said, what will the difference be between this show and a Jethro Tull show? And he said, absolutely nothing. but I didn't quite agree with that.
Oh, that's fabulous. You've made me smart.
Now, with you bringing Clive Bunker and Dee Palmer out, I mean, that's more of a Jethro Tull show, I think, right there.
Yeah, but you know, I've said this many times, but I am not Jethro Tull without Ian, and he is not Jethro Tull without me. I think we both wrote that in concrete, but many years ago, and nothing's changed. But it's talk the talk. I mean, I could say anything, but in reality, when I put a show on sale, wherever it is in the world, that people will know exactly what they're going to get, and they're going to get me and my band, or they're going to get me with special guests Dee Palmer and Clyde Bunker, formerly of Jethro Tull.
Right.
There's no unknown factors. It's completely open and honest, which I think everybody has to be.
I've seen you twice, and both times you blew me away. Fantastic shows, and looking forward to, fingers crossed, 2021. What do you think about getting out on the road? Do you think it's going to happen?
Well, officially, I'd have to say yes. Unofficially, to everybody who's listening, but I have every hope to play in 2021, and there's nothing I will do to prevent it. However, I think that the market, or the business, whatever you want to call it, promoters, theatre owners, agents, are a little pessimistic, and so we're erring on caution. But if we get the green light, I mean, this vaccine is coming out before Christmas, which is brand new news. Incredible. I mean, I'm going to be there. I'm going to have it straight away.
Mm-hmm.
And it means we can play concerts. Whether the audience will have to have it as well, I don't know. But I just think that nothing will ever go back to normal. And at the end of the day, the concert goes on sale as a definite occasion, then we all have to make a personal choice of whether we're going to be there or not. First of all, the band has to, and once the band say, yeah, we're going to be there on this date in this year, then the audience have to make a decision. That there's going to be risk. It might be a high risk, a medium risk, a low risk, or the tiniest risk of getting ill. And we've been living with illness for centuries, but it's a nasty one. And I think what once we're given the green light officially, then people are still going to make their own personal decision. But we're going to be there. I will never cancel anything.
You mentioned, we were talking about leaving Aqualung off of this album, but you were going to more than make up for it next year. You were going to do the album in its entirety, correct?
Yeah, but it's on the DVD. Aqualung is.
Okay.
But yeah, somebody threw the idea at me, and at first I went, no, because I want to get back to my own solo material,
Sure.
which I suddenly neglected. So I'm eager to get back to that music. But I think maybe a nice way of doing it would be, maybe, I'm not saying this is definite, that the concert in two halves, which it traditionally is. First half might be my music, maybe with a couple of Tull songs in there to keep things going, and then the second half would be the whole of Aqualung, like a really dedicated commitment to playing it. And I think it would work really well. I looked at all the tracks on the album. I thought, you know what? We either play a lot of those, or we can make them sound really, really good. So it became an exciting project the more I thought about it. So I think we will do that.
Fans would love that. What do you think about all of the reissues that have come out, all the box sets and the remixes and the outtakes, and how do you feel about that?
Well, the more that's on the market, the healthier. I have the original albums, and I know Steve Wilson's done an amazing job sonically.
Mm-hmm.
But when I listen to Hendrix, for instance, who I love and always have done, I'll put on the original recording, and that's what I want. So I don't want to be a bad salesperson or undermine everything that's going on. But my choice is that I'm happy with the raw, naive version as it went on tape in whatever year it was. So, whether it's after the gold rush with Neil Young or the Eagles or Hendrix or Cream or Mountain, I'm quite happy with the original recording, but maybe there is a better mix, or you can take the hiss out of the recording and tidy them up a bit. It's good if you want to go down that route with your collection of records. Then I totally understand it, but I'm just happy with the scratches and the farts and the burps.
I think a lot of people agree with you. True fans have to have them both anyway, so it's
we're having them both, yeah. But I think part of the history of music is the way they were when they were recorded. So you might, if you want to listen to Charlie Christian or Django Reinhardt, the scratches and the hiss are part of it.
It's true. It's true. We're talking to Martin Barre. Martin, it's been a true honor talking to you, and I can't wait to see you back up here in Western New York. I think you've got a date scheduled in Buffalo again next year.
Yeah,
so.
well, we tend to work a lot in that area.
A lot of fans up here. A lot of fans.
There's a lot of fans, and we love being there. So it's inevitable that we will be there.
There's a Facebook page. It's a group, the Jethro Tull group. Fantastic. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, but they gave me some questions. So I'm just going to run down a couple real quick, if that's okay with you. Does Martin have a Jethro Tull guitar solo or musical passage that he is most proud of?
Yeah, probably do. But, I like the solo on Beastie. I like my guitar playing on Waking Edge, and some of the things on Crest of a Knave. But that's I've given you a few. But there's a solo on Black Sunday.
Yes.
That's another one I like. But yeah, it's a difficult question because I can't just pick one out.
Right.
Being distinctly better than other ones for me. So
Russ says the guy who has your Baby Armstrong guitar says hello.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that.
Tony says you've played the Porcupine Tree song Blackest Eyes. Are you a fan of PT and Steven Wilson? What prompted that addition to the set list?
Well, I heard the track and bought the album before I really knew anything about Steve Wilson, and before he was involved in the Tull remixes, and I just love that album. In Absentia, is the album. I knew nothing about them. I love the music, and I love that track Blackest Eyes, and just thought that'd be so cool to play live, which we did. And then obviously Steve Wilson became better known, and in fact Porcupine Tree became better known as well. In fact, I'll tell you where I did a radio interview in New York, a live radio, and at the end of the interview, the guy, the DJ, gave me a copy of the record. He said, "You want to check this out?"
Really?
So I thought they were American because that's where I got the CD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember now how I got introduced to it, and that was it. Yeah,
very cool, very cool. Did you really do the Aqualung solo in one take?
Yes. Yeah, and Jimmy Page was watching.
I thought so. I remember that story. Oh my gosh. Will Barrymore Barlow ever be joining you on tour?
I did ask him, and Barry has for personal reasons he wanted to do it. He wasn't able to, but I think it would be an amazing project So the door's open, maybe down the line, but I have thought of it and would love to work with Barry again.
This is kind of interesting. How many songs did Ian Anderson take credit for writing that you actually wrote the majority of yourself? He said he had heard that you wrote the entirety of Minstrel in the Gallery, for example.
But I said that.
No. Somebody had heard that you had written.
Right. Well, I wrote the instrumental introduction. Most of it is documented, but you know, when you're in a band, you write your own guitar solos. You might come up with an idea, and that idea might be one bar of music, but it might be used 20 times in the song. Is that writing?
Right.
These things are part of your job. So we all arranged and came up with our own ideas for our own parts. The one song that went under the radar was the B-side of Living in the Past, which is called Driving Song. And I don't know if anybody's credited with but I wrote that song.
Okay.
I wrote the lyrics, which is why on Roads Less Travelled, I did another This Is My Driving Song as a sort of little joke about that one sort of got lost in the history of time.
I'll do one more. John wants to know if you personally know Peter Green or anything about him being one of your contemporaries.
Oh yeah, well I met Peter Green pretty soon after I joined Tull, because Glenn Cornick and he were big friends, and I used to go around to he lived with his parents, and me and Glenn used to go around to his parents' house where he was, and we'd sit in Peter Green's bedroom, and there was, it was tiny, so we'd all sit on the bed playing Peter Green, me and Glenn.
Oh, cool.
And he's the nicest, gentlest person you could have ever met. He was a really amazing person, and he was sort of very much. He helped me a lot in the early days, just to sort of, I don't know, as a person. So yes, I knew him really well, and one of my favourite players of all time.
So many people on the list just want to thank you for all the years of playing and the music you've made and continue to keep alive. And I want to jump right in there and join in on that.
Yeah, well, I thank everybody in reverse.
The CD is Martin Barre, 50 Years of Jethro Tull. You can check it out at martinbarre.com and pretty much anywhere music is sold. And Martin, thank you so much.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you, Lee.
And I hope you and the family and everybody is staying safe and keeping occupied.
I'm always busy. Yeah, I don't. There's never a day when there's not a lot to do. And at the moment, I'm going through all my ancient multi-tracks on tape. I had them transferred to CD, and these are going back 50, 40, 30 years.
Really?
And I must have 20 CDs full of these bits of music, and some I haven't heard and I've forgotten about.
Ah, fun.
It's quite interesting. So I might do something with them.
That'd be great. Something to look forward to.
It's out of interest.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, Martin. Well, thank you so much for taking time to do this, and take the rest of the day off.
Okay, I'll try.
And hope to see you up here in Buffalo sometime next year.
You will.
All right. Thank you, Martin.
Thanks.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye.